Hello everybody, Raider here, and we have got some news about future content potentially coming to Payday 3. Now before I get into this, I want to make it clear I got these screenshots from Red Archer Live's video, so please go check him out and hear his thoughts on these changes, as I wouldn't know about these changes if it wasn't for him, as I did not watch the dev live stream today. So, let's get into it. First up, we have the techie changes. My time of playing Syntax Error, me and other players have felt the drones do more damage than they should. It appears we were right, but we knew this before, as the new game director, Mio, has stated that he wanted the drones to be small damage sources and intended to be a way to stop armor regen, similar to a lone shield. And yeah, I think this is a good change. And the second thing up on the change list is the health on drones being reduced. This was not something I saw coming, as I felt the drones were in a good place. Last time I played the map using the Car 4, which is my favorite weapon, I was taking down drones in like 3 or 4 shots. So I felt as if that was good. It's not too weak. It doesn't feel very strong, but I'm still a little curious on why the drone health was changed. But I mean, we'll have to see how fast we can down one when these changes take effect. And these changes I am actually very happy about. And the techie respawn increased by 20 seconds. That one is definitely needed. I felt as if when playing this map I could have like a techie back-to-back even without the FBI van, and I do know that techies can spawn back-to-back with an FBI van. And the last change to the techie is a respawn rate, being increased by 20 seconds while not an FBI assault. Techie can spawn quite frequently, forcing players to hunter down or simply dealing with the drones. While I'm unsure of her current respawn timer, the extra time of not needing to deal with her is nice and gives some more breathing room. And before we move on from the techie, I wanted to talk about my thoughts on her, as she, being a new enemy type and everything. I do think that the techie is a very good enemy, and has potential to be like not game ending, but it has potential to be a very big stressor on certain missions. Some more than others, depending on where she can spawn. But I do think that she is a very good special enemy, and honestly can't wait to see her in the other missions and, you know, finding out her locations and hunting her down. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the techie, and we can move on now. Alright, next up, we have some weapon changes. First off is the R900 sniper rifle. While I didn't really use this weapon after I finished its challenges, it's nice to see it getting some love. With increased armor pen by 0.07 and an undisclosed damage increase. With these changes, I believe we may be able to one-shot shields. One thing that I did not like about it, while it was not my biggest gripe, with that being the needing to unscope to rechamber, while that's not mentioned, I do hope that it is considered. Next up, we have a buff to the Mosconi, an already good weapon getting a buff to bring it up to speed with the new DLC shotgun, that I've noticed many people using. The changes to the Mosconi will definitely help with gunslinger builds, I can already see it, making the gun more reliable at ranges, maybe even more so than the new shotgun, which I already feel is a jack of all trades, and maybe the Mosconi needs to outrange it in order to make it worth using over the DLC shotgun. And while it wasn't mentioned, I would like to see the Reinfeld A80 get a little bit of a buff. I'm not entirely sure what would need to be buffed about it, but I feel like it should be brought up to speed a little bit more, as I feel like it's a little bit weak. But I do think the Reinfeld A80 does deserve a little bit of love as well. We haven't gone through all of it, maybe they did mention it, but we will see, and I do hope that in the future it does get a little bit more love. Alright, and here are some of the biggest changes we are going to see. Some skills are going to be buffed, and I'm going to try to explain it. First off, the triage skill no longer consuming buffs, meaning you get an extra 15% health with no drawbacks, which is good. because medic bags are criminally underused, and these changes and other upcoming ones may change that drastically. Now, on to threat assessment. The buff being an extra 10% on enemies marked by you, in the current patch only dealing 10%, now 20%, which is a nice change and could possibly come in handy when you don't have the Red Fox, especially for dozers. I personally think this is really good, and honestly, I'm considering throwing this skill into some of my builds. Now, another shocking change I did not see coming was a buff to Negotiator, giving 3 resources instead of 2. While I suppose this could help on some maps with smaller civ counts, it'll make hostage heavy maps just a tad bit easier with all those health and armor repair kits just lying around. And to the shell shock buff, this change, I can see myself wanting to run nade builds more often since I felt 10% accuracy debuff didn't quite cut it, and it seems that they think so too. Now being able to apply this debuff to specials while it previously couldn't is great. However, I'm unsure if the dozer will be affected by this, but we'll have to see. Next up, CQC Specialist. Wasn't changed much, but now it seems you will gain or refresh rush when grabbing a human shield, and you will gain or refresh grit by doing a takedown. And groundskeeping getting a massive buff of 40% to takedown speed, hopefully making it a quicker takedown, but I honestly hope they ditch that whole dropping the body animation after you're doing a takedown, because that's one of my biggest gripes with hostage human shield builds, my bad, is if you do a takedown, you'll basically be stuck in place for a second, and I don't like that. But maybe with the increased speed, it'll speed it up, or maybe even just push the body to the floor or something. But yeah, I like this changes. It was the first half of the changes, and we're on to the other side. Now, on to even more CQC Specialist buffs. We have small assets with pretty big change, being when you throw a hostage, you repair your current armor chunk. Now, that is a very good change, and honestly, I think it encourages some more human shield playstyles, and I think that is a very good thing. Now, the Savage skill takedown, I'm quite unsure as to what is changing with it, as it doesn't seem to really state anything. But I do, maybe it possibly is getting a range buff, but that's really all I can really see from it. So we're moving on. High grain from the ammo specialist tree has a buff I feel all deployables should get, that being when using an ammo bag, all players, whether they used it or you, get the 20% damage bonus. Now, what I mean by that is bag specific skills should apply to bags, and so the player needed them to get the bonus. And that is what I wrote. And right after that, I read the next one. Here's what I wrote. Well, I ate my words reading the next one, as Steady Hands now works crew-wide, meaning as long as the player who set down the bag has it, everyone will get the bonus. This is likely the best change in the entire notes, as it encourages at least one player bringing a medic bag in. More variety in deployables is really what this game needs. The final change is Disengage, allowing you to sprint through nader gas, whether you have used it on a cloaker, cloaker or zapper. Whether or not you have used it, you will be able to run through gas. However, I don't see myself using it much since you don't get gassed if civvies are around, and I like to keep them around. But in the case that it is needed, it is a nice change, and it's a very welcome one in my opinion. Alright, and now we are getting into some equipment changes. I don't have a script for this part, so I'm just going to go off of just the top of my head. Because, there's not a lot of things here, but some good things. Medic bags now heal 50% of your health, up from 35, so 15% extra health. So you only need 2 hits of a medic bag to get back to full health. That is if you're like 1 tap, 1 health. That's really good. Medic bags by default restore 1 down. Finally, I am very thankful for this. One of the biggest reasons why people don't use medic bags is because it doesn't restore down. And also field surgery, gives you another down 2. So if you have field surgery, you use it, you get 2 downs back. That's great. Although I don't know if it will give you, like, if you have 3 downs at max with 2-plater, I think. I don't know if it'll give you an extra one or 3 is your max. Unsure. But still, very good change. Armor repair kit's interaction speed was reduced by half a second, or reduced to half a second. While another thing I'm quite unsure why they changed. It's welcome, but I feel like the animation is going to be a little fast. And first aid kits now heal 5% more. While that is not major, that is still good. 4 of them will get you back to full health if you're 1-tap, like I said earlier. Very good. And standard lining got a reduced regeneration time. See, that's a good change. I used to run 2-platers before they nerfed plate up, and I never really thought to try the standard lining, but maybe with this change I may be inclined to. Yeah, very good change. I like all of these changes. Everything in this slide right here is great, and it will definitely help with you know, people not using medic bags. I feel like a lot of these changes that they stated are coming really serve to increase ammo or medic bags, and yeah, some future changes coming down the line too that they spoke about, which I will be getting into soon. Yeah, those changes later on will definitely make medic bags even better, and as a matter of fact may just well, you tell you what, when I get there I'll get into it because I have a lot to say about what's coming up soon. A little more off scripty as well is these overkill changes. The assault difficulty will now update mid-wave instead of between assault waves. I'm not entirely sure what this means, but I think I have an idea. So I believe dozers and techies, as long as heavy swats spawn at a certain point in a map. So just for example, I'm not entirely sure if this is when they start coming, but on Touch the Sky, if you start doing the SSD, heavy swats will start coming. So as soon as you start that objective, we're just saying this theoretically, I'm not entirely sure of when heavy swats start spawning on Touch the Sky. But instead of waiting for the next assault wave to update it, heavy swats will just start spawning. Dozers, techies, although techies isn't on the map quite yet. This change could make overkill harder, although I don't feel overkill is really hard at all, even with the last change with an extra special. I do like that they're taking extra steps to making overkill harder, but I mean, solo it is hell. But with a team, you can breeze through every single map very easy. Not a problem at all. But, you know, as long as they're making it easier, or as long as they're making it a little bit harder, and, you know, not borderline unfair, cough cough DSOD. Yeah, I think this is a good change. Make overkill as hard as you can make it. I'm all cool with that. I am fine. Good change. I like it. Now we've got some more techie changes. It says here they are working on making drones easier to notice, and what I think they mean by that is either making their lights brighter or even giving them a laser, which I think is a very good change, as the drones definitely need to be much easier to notice. I still remember my first time playing Syntax Error and seeing a very faint red light above me, thinking it was like one of those drones, those stealth drones that spot you. It was not. I did not know it was a drone until I saw it shooting at me. So making drones easier to notice is definitely a good thing. I'm all for it. As a matter of fact, it's needed. It says here, working on the tactical drone. Tactical drone spawn together with the combat drone. The tactical drone will try to blind players. If successful, players lose their active grit or edge, grit, and rush and become unable to gain it for 20 seconds. Another way of making techie a bigger problem. I like it. Although I hope that means that the tactical drone takes one of the combat drone spots, so we're not dealing with a set amount of combat drones and tactical drones. I hope that the tactical drone takes a spot for one of the drones that she can set out. As for getting rid of your rush and all that, yeah, that is a pretty good punishment for letting that happen. I'm not entirely sure what trying to blind you entails. Will they try to get in your face? Will they try to get close to you? Will they be able to do it from a distance? Not sure yet. But having a way to lose it without, like, losing it is good. And a punishment of not being able to gain them for another 20 seconds is pretty big punishment enough. And the last one here, making drones able to hack sentry turrets of players. Yeah, see, this is a change that I knew was coming to the techie. Allow me to head to the drone skills really quickly, because I do know that it was mentioned in the skills. I'm having trouble finding it. Where the heck are the drone skills, or the sentry skills? Why are these so hard to find? Here they are. Alright, now I must find it. Huh, I guess I can't. But I do remember in the skills being mentioned that drones will be harder to hack. Here it is, cooling system. Reduce heat buildup from damage, electrical explosions, or hack attempts. So I was very confused the first time I was looking at sentry skills and seeing hack attempts. Not too sure what that means, but it seems like they had the techie in mind since launch. So at first I thought sabotage would be able to like hack your drone or your sentries, but no, it's the techie, because I felt like maybe it was sabotage this whole time and, you know, they just couldn't get close because, you know, the sentries were lighting them up. But no, it appears that the techie will be able to hack your sentries. What that means, I don't know. Will they just break and you have to pick them up again? Will they start shooting at you and you have to break it and then pick it up again? I'm not too sure, but I do think that that is very good, giving the techie more of a threat, and that's good. Make everything more of a threat. Make 4 dozers at once. That's the joke. But yes, techies will be stronger and weaker at the same time. I like all these techie changes. Honestly, can't wait to see them in all maps. This is great. Well, this slide here is extremely vague. Not entirely sure what they mean by giving some love to the Ziv Commando and the Northwest B9. Not too sure what they mean by giving him some love, but I'm sure that means they're getting buffs, which is good. Glad to see that the Ziv might become something better than it was. It's probably the only weapon I never consider bringing on a loud heist, so that being changed is good. The Northwest, I'm not entirely sure what they're going to buff about it, but hey, maybe I want to bring it again. I remember loving the B9 in the beta, and then I started loving the Car 4 in the full game. The SAA is really good. Yeah, making more weapons viable for loud. Not that either of those were really bad in loud, it's just I feel like the Ziv was probably the worst weapon to bring in loud, while the Northwest wasn't as bad. I think it does suffer from some ammo issues, which may be something that they're going to fix or change. Not entirely sure, but more welcome changes, more buffs, more weapons to use. Happy to see it. Now here is what I was talking about. The overheal mechanic. Medic bag will now apply an overheal effect when it heals you above max health. Overheal is temporary health. Overheal slowly degrades when you don't take damage, currently at a rate of 1 health every 2 seconds. Your max overheal is equal to your max health, so if your health is 100, you can have 100 overheal on top of it. When you take health damage, the overheal decay stops for 4 seconds. Now what I was kind of getting at earlier was I read a little bit ahead, and I heard like something about armor affecting this. So maybe this is a alternative to armor, although I'd have to try it out and really like test it to really find out if it's a good alternative to armor. If you bring manipulator skills, you could really keep overheal going. From what I've read, you could extend it for pretty long, and depending on how much damage you take, you can keep it going. I don't know. This is just, you know, like baseline what they're talking about, and I don't know. I think overheal could be very good if done right. And we're about to get into what like the overheal tree is all about. So now that we know what overheal is and gone over it very quickly, let's head on into the skill tree. Alright, the new skill tree, Fortitude. Base, when your base maximum health, increases your base maximum health by 50. Whenever you heal above maximum health, you gain or refresh grit. So it seems like just base will bring your health up to 150, so maybe it's a good skill to bring just in general, just for that extra 50 health. It could help, it might not. I'm going to be testing it once it comes out. Yeah. And Aced increases your maximum amount of downs by 1 and your bleed out time by 50%. Wow, that is a good one. It would probably help with the field surgeon tree or field surgeon buff earlier. And 45 seconds down timer, that's good. Although it doesn't say anything about being cuffed, so if you get beat down by a cloaker and he cuffs you, maybe you'll still have 15 seconds. Maybe it'll give you the extra 15% or 50% time, so you get 30 seconds in cuff. And we're gonna do the mastery one last. The first skill, whenever a crewmate uses a medic bag, you heal for 40% of the amount they healed. So with the earlier buffs to the medic bags, you should, whether or not they have healing skills, you should be getting a pretty decent amount as long as you have the skills and it's your, medic bag. If this heals above full health, excess amount is added as overheals, so that's perfect. If you're running low on overheal and you're out there slaying and someone uses it, you just got a nice big buff to overheal. Upgrade 2, max health is increased for 15 for each down you have. So this is what this is what I meant by armor being, like, you should bring lower armors. So for each down you have, you should have 5 downs if you have a 1-plater. So I think that's also why they're buffing 1-plates, is because of this. So you bring the less armor to have more downs to have more overheal. Or max health, just in general. So 5 downs, you'll have like... How the hell am I starting with 5 times 15? But whatever. Whenever you overheal, you gain additional 10% overheal for each down you currently have. So basically, you don't want to go down with overheal. You could probably completely skip out on armor if you want. But overheal is... I feel like it's going to be pretty good. I'm not entirely sure the armor values, but seems like you just might be able to reach a 4-plater amount of like health. So yeah, I think overheal just might bring medic bags back. Upgrade 4, your overheal degrades 25% slower for each down you currently have. If you have any amount of overheal, you can use first aid kits to pause its degradation for 10 seconds. So many good changes with this. I could see so much you could do with this skill tree alone, and combined with everything around you, you may be able to skip out on armor skills. You may be able to skip out on a couple other things and just completely focus on overheal and run 1-plater. I think I like where they're going with this a lot. Upgrade 5, as long as you have edge, grit, or rush, any damage you take for your overheal, health is reduced by 50%. See, this is what I'm talking about. For reference, armor in the game reduces damage by 25% at the moment. This is going to be game changing. Depending on how well you can use it, I think this might just be better than armor. I may eat my words when this comes out, but I have a really good feeling about this. And then here we go at Mastery. This is ridiculous. If you have a deployable bag in your loadout, it has 2 additional charges. I believe they said something about it working with deeper pockets. So you should have 1 player should have 12 uses of their bags. That is ridiculous. So I do think that this change here is to encourage more deployable variety. Because 2 players bringing deeper pockets and 2 armor bags, that's 24 plates. 24 plates. If your team needs more than that, walk into the sun. Now, you should be able to bring 24 ammo too, or 12 ammo, 12 health, 24 plates. Because plates is obviously going to still be very good. People are still going to be running armor. But yeah, this fortitude tree seems like it's going to be ridiculous. I really like where they're going with overheal. I think it's going to be very great. Very, very great. Depending on how you play, you could keep your overheal going further than armor. You could stretch it further with the amount of like first aid kits. I feel like first aid kits don't get as much use as the armor repair kits. So players using fortitude would really be using those first aid kits, while the armor people will be using the armor repair kits. It's a much better way to be stretching out your skills. I really like where they're going with this. And yeah, I really like this a lot. I honestly cannot wait for the skill tree so I can test it out. Very excited. Next up we have new skills. It says clean slate. New tank mastery that says if you have no armor, you can interact with an armor repair kit to restore 1 chunk. Very good change. As of right now, the tank mastery is disengage. Wow. Disengage is going to be changing spots, I guess. But yeah, that tank mastery is going to be good. I can already tell. For the players still using armor, it will help a lot. Disengage will become the new escapist mastery. What is the escapist mastery? Escapist mastery will be swift. Your base sprinting speed when masked on is increased by 10. Hope they're not getting rid of that, because I use that in most of my builds. The current escapist mastery will become an upgrade to escapist. Okay. So you just need to ace escapist to get the 10% masked up speed. Very good. These changes they're alright. I do like the new tank mastery. That will definitely be going into armor builds for sure. But yeah, they're not really much to speak about here, but yeah, very good. I'm liking actually a lot of these changes that they're bringing in. Well, these are potential changes, I believe. This and the fortitude tree are in progress, so they're not going to be coming in the next patch, maybe the patch after that. I think everything after this point here are stuff that will be on the table, as they like to say. So they could be drastically changed or even cut entirely. So let's get into those. Now, another relatively minor change, which I don't think will be all that big of a change. Being able to purchase favors directly from the lobby. Yeah, that's a good thing. If they're talking about in like the lobby of the match where you ready up, that's very good. We've been needing that. Nothing about an unready button though. Including high specific favors. High specific ones will likely cost C stacks. You can still earn them as drops. I don't see myself paying for the high specific favors as I have so many of them. But for players who do like need like a hidden thermite or thermal lance parts, if nobody has any, this is really good. Someone can just fork up the C stacks to grab them. It'll although I feel like having to earn them was kind of good, because being able to just buy the favors, especially with them being as powerful as they are, or at least some of them, could be, not entirely sure, but it's a good change for those who don't have the favors that they want at a specific time. So yeah, I mean, they give you the option to buy them. I don't hate it, but I also don't feel like it was necessary. But yeah, another good change. Seems like they're making some pretty good changes here, and I like it. Alright, and on to the final slide we are. New armor type, a 2-chunk armor that does not take permanent damage, aka always regenerates to full. But has lower damage reduction. You can maintain a chunk forever if you're careful, but if it breaks, you need to restore it. So now it seems like 1-platers will be meant for overheal. If this new armor type replaces 2-platers, I'll be fine with it. Honestly, as a player who likes to keep his armor up, depending on how long it takes to regen, this could be very good. There are a lot of players who did want the old type of armor regen back, and in a way this is kind of it without, being overpowered. because I do feel like the Payday 1 and 2 type of armor regen would not work very well here. But in this way, where if you lose the chunk, you lose it until you use an armor bag, it could be very good. It honestly would fit perfectly fine. It still has the finite armor, but you have less armor. I think that this could be very good. Additional secure point. At level 1, additional secure point. What am I talking about? Additional skill point. At level 1, you would have 2 skill points when you start the game. I do not know if this means you have 22 skill points or they relocate one of the skill points that you would earn. Either way, good for lower levels. A new consumable slot. This is something I've been wanting, although it's being explored, so it may not come to the game. And a new consumable slot in which you'll carry a first aid kit or armor repair kits that you pick up in the heist. So you could store, what this means is you can store armor repair kit or a first aid kit, depending on which one you want, if you're an overheal player or if you're running armor. This could be very good, in dire situations. I wish I had like an armor repair kit there if I'm on my last plate of armor and I have a little teeny tiny chunk, and that one armor repair kit that I have on me could really help out a lot. So I hope that this is one of those things that gets brought in, because this is something that will help everyone being able to carry, or maybe even being able to pick up one of those ammo boxes. Although I don't think ammo is all that, ammo is pretty plentiful. But being able to carry first aid kits or repair kits, that would definitely be an amazing change. Letting multiple hostages follow you, potentially as part of an existing skill. This isn't something very huge, but it would also not make sense for them to not bring it in, because just on some maps you want to move a lot of hostages, and being able to do that faster is definitely better. Maybe even it could help in stealth. I've gotten to the points where I just kill civilians because it's faster to pick up their bodies and carry them than to human shield them or even have them follow you. Favors that act as payout modifiers. More cash, more infamy points, etc. Not entirely sure what this entails. Like a favor that someone could put in. Not entirely sure. I don't think people would be doing more cash. More infamy points, definitely. I'm not entirely sure why this is being explored as a favor. Maybe have loud security modifiers. I don't know. Loud security modifiers should definitely be something that's explored, but I'm not entirely sure if favors that act as payout modifiers. We'll have to see if they do come to the game. Next up is additional base functionality for ammo bags, like having it increase armor penetration when used. Yeah, maybe. I think the biggest problem with ammo bags is that ammo is not needed, because with ammo boxes being instanced, ammo bags aren't really essential. So if ammo bags gave you like a permanent, not a permanent boost, but if it gave you a nice boost and incentive to use it, I do think that I could see ammo bags being brought more often. As of these last changes with overheal and all, I do see medic bags being brought more, especially because the players who have overheal probably won't be bringing armor, which is really good. More variety, I'm all for it. And finally, an assassin skill line that focuses on rush and suppressed weapons. They left this very vague. Although I do like the idea of having skills for suppressed weapons, as I don't believe there are any in the game that benefit you to have suppressors. And loud, yeah, there's really no need to bring suppressors. On a couple of maps, I do like Rock the Cradle, because if you do loud right away, or if you get the blue key card and then go loud, start the hack, first responders coming, and then when they come, you have to get upstairs into the manager's office. So I just like to shoot the locks, so I bring a suppressed weapon there. Having more benefits to bringing suppressed weapons would be very good. And I do like the steps that they're taking to improving the game. Yeah, I do think everything that was mentioned here is very good, and I am very much enjoying what I saw. And honestly, I can't wait for some of these new skill changes, overheal and all that. I will definitely be testing those out. As soon as it comes out, I'm going to try to make Overheal work as best as I possibly can. And honestly, I cannot wait. Although I'm going to wait, but still, I really like these changes and I can't wait for them. And, you know, with Mio being the new game director, I have some more faith in the game, as it seems like I'm not entirely sure if these are changes that he brought in or, you know, but these are some good steps in improving the game and I very much enjoy it. But yeah, that was everything. That was everything stated in the dev live stream. And if you stop by and watch this long video, I appreciate you. But yeah, please like and subscribe. And when the time comes for these updates, I will definitely try to be exploring as much as I can and making things work, especially if they bring that new armor type. I really hope that that is something that does get brought. But yeah, this has been Server Hater. I appreciate you being here. Later.